Hello there, today I'm talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is the Marvel feel-good film, ultimately. It's the film that everybody loves, really. I don't know anyone who's seen this film who doesn't love it. It's one of those films that just works, even though it's a very flawed film in the plot, that doesn't matter. I mean, the film is, they grab some orb that's really important, they have to find a way to use, they're on the run because they have it, everyone else wants it, and they have to they lose it and they have to fight back against the person who has it, and that's it. That's the basic plot. Is it's around this orb, this stone that is very powerful, and they get it, they lose it, and they have to fight back to get it again. That's it. It's a very simple plot. You write in the back of an envelope, really, the plot of this film. It doesn't matter though, because it's all about characters. The smart thing they did was they hired James Gunn. Now, well, he's not a well-known name outside cinema circles. He is well known for, he made Slither, which was this fun little monster movie. He made Super, which is a superhero film, but a dysfunctional superhero without any real powers. It's really funny. It's very low budget. If you have the right sense of humour, it really works, but it's very defined for a certain audience. So I've always been a fan of his, so it was nice to see him actually get a big gig, and then it turned into a big hit, because he's one of those directors who have earned a hit because they've done good work and not getting appreciated for a long time. He was sort of like Joss Whedon in Avengers. He'd done a lot of stuff, but he was getting underappreciated for a while, and then it was nice to actually see him actually get some attention. So what the film delivers is a fun space romp with lots of nice characters. I mean, that's really what it's about. It's about the characters. It's about Star-Lord, who's Chris Pratt, who's he's meant to be a swashbuckling hero, but it's really a parody of that, because he doesn't think anything ahead more than 2 minutes. His plans never make any real sense. He's always relying on someone else to get him out of the situation. He's a motor mouth. But it's charming because of Chris Pratt playing it, and it just works because he's fun and he's trying his best. He's just not as bright as he thinks he is, and that's a great character. And he's surrounded with good characters that play off that. And this film does, because everyone else around him is more confident than he is, but he's for some reason the leader, even though his plans make no sense usually. But that's the funny part, is like he just does everything wrong, and it's really enjoyable to watch him do everything wrong. And he's surrounded by Zoe Saldana plays this green alien who's an assassin, and she's terrific. She tends to be really good in these sci-fi movies because she gets the tone of them, which is that they're fun, don't take them too seriously, but take them serious enough to actually be in the world. Like, she understands how to play sci-fi in a way that's just right, because she was in Avatar, she's been in Star Trek. She just knows this kind of acting, like what's needed for this kind of performance. And she's basically the straight man for the film, because everyone else is a lunatic, and she's the only person who thinks about 2 minutes ahead, and who knows, like, this is my objective here, this is my objective here. She's always an objective for something. She has to deal with a dysfunctional family. She's Thanos likes her and thinks of her as a daughter. She wants it as far away from him as possible because she thinks she's a nutcase. There's a nice dynamic to her that actually just works, because she's like, she basically keeps the plot moving. It's one of those nice things where the sidekick is actually the hero, and the hero thinks he's a hero, but he's really the sidekick. Because ultimately, it's very Big Trouble in Little China that way. Big Trouble in Little China that way with Kurt Russell was apparently a hero, but his sidekick was actually the person in charge, but he just didn't know it. And this film has the same dynamic where Zoe Saldana is really the person in charge, but Chris Pratt thinks he's in charge. You know, Chris Pratt only becomes in charge towards the end, when he's a stupid plan that actually the situation's so grim they have to go along with. You know, it takes it that long for them to follow what he says. So that works. So you've got Rocket, who's this little raccoon who has been modified, and he's sarcastic, he loves guns, he loves explosives. He just messes with people all the time, it just works. You've got Vin Diesel as Groot, who's this big tree who says, "I am Groot," that's all he says. And you've got Dave Bautista as Drax, the Conqueror, who has no sense of irony, no sense of humour. He wants to kill the villain of the film because they killed his daughter. He's very literal. And they get a lot of humour out of that because he's trying his best to fit in and trying his best to... He develops some friendships with these people, other people who originally despises, but he's trying, and that's very endearing because he's really trying his best to actually fit in and do things and be of help. But he makes a lot of mistakes, but it really works. The character works because he really is trying his best. So this interaction with these 5 characters just works. It's just one of those things where everyone's got their strength, everyone's got their weakness. And it just delivers because the character interaction is so good that you basically forget that the plot's just going from one set piece to the next. It's kind of like Star Wars in that way, where Star Wars has a plot and following, but a lot of it's just character interaction between this setup, this setup, this setup. You're going between different stories, but it's really the characters. The same here, where you just follow these characters in this world which you haven't seen before, so you're just following them around. You get introduced to these other weird characters and watching them survive a situation that's getting more grim as it goes along. The film itself is never grim. There's always a deal to be made. There's always a way out of any situation, and it's just funny. The whole thing's funny because it's all character-based humour. It's all about arguments about something what someone said that was misinterpreted or wasn't misinterpreted, and that's where a lot of the jokes come from. Is people are trying, and all the little details that originally seemed to be like, why is he doing that? They all get paid off, so you know by the end why someone was doing something, and it always makes sense. It's the opposite of Star Wars Force Awakens, where they do a lot of stuff, expect it to be explained at the end, and it turns out it wasn't explained. This one's the opposite. They explain it all in the film, so you feel like someone's thought it through, and all the details do make sense. So it's one of those hard films to talk about because everything's on the surface in a good way, where everything's there, everything's there, and there's nothing hidden. It's an entertainment film, but it's an entertainment film by someone who knows what he's doing and who wants to make an entertainment film that delivers. So the film just works. I mean, the world's beautiful. It's a pulp world, but each environment's slightly different. So the villain's environment's very dark. The hero's environment's this over bright city that's just too clean. The stuff in between is a mix of, it's a lot clunkier. It's almost like the budget's been slashed for a lot of these places, like in the world, not in the film, just in the world where it's basically it used to be new shiny, now it's old and decrepit because they're just living on what was built in the past. And all that works because you have these like little settlements, and then you cut wide and it's against this beautiful background. And that mix of like the normal everyday life mixed with something gorgeous, just the universe, just delivers because it tells you exactly where they are in the world. It's a working class world. All these people have to survive in this world, and that motivates a lot of the action because even the hero characters are all trying to survive in this world day to day. And they don't have to say it because just their interactions and the way the world's set up just tells you that, and you know it instantly, and you don't have to grasp for anything. It just, these are all like wage slaves ultimately. They're bounty hunters, but they have to go from one bounty to the next, one score to the next. They're all just trying to make a living. That just works. It just delivers something that's very unlike the rest of the Marvel universe, which people seem to have a lot easier time. Like Captain America works for the government. Iron Man is lots of money. Thor's a god. It's very rare. I mean, the only before that there really isn't. Everyone else seems to be comfortable. There's the working class environment isn't really in the Marvel universe until this one, and that just works for the film. It just feels like even the Hulk, who's on the run a lot of the time, that's more like minute by minute survival. It doesn't feel the same as this kind of working class survival that they've got in this film. So it's a nice variation. I think even though we don't think about it, you feel it. And that just makes it work because it feels different from every other film you've seen from the Marvel Universe. It's just nice to see a film that does that, because there aren't really that many working class films without it being like we have a working class art house film. This is just an entertainment where everyone's surviving like day to day. So it's a nice little film. I think it resonated with people because they feel it represented their lives a lot more than a lot of other films, and it's just funny. The whole thing's just funny, and the action's fun. It's not too serious. There's some nice silly bits all the way through, but it doesn't take too silly. There's always humour, but they know when to switch back to serious and then when to make it humorous again. And it's quite good also because the villains have no sense of humour, which makes it good because it means they're good for the heroes to work off, because some moments are relevant against someone who doesn't like that, just as comedy gold. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back soon for another one. Okay, right, bye.